Combat Mission is back with a brand new title of the renowned franchise. Produced for the first time in collaboration with Matrix Games, this new chapter is set between 1979 and 1982, in the tipping point years of the Cold War. Combat Mission Cold War is a sandbox for experimentation. The game simulates several what-if conflict scenarios between US and Soviet forces, centered on the strategic Fulda Gap and West Germany. Take command of US or Soviet-era accurate tanks and mechanized infantry fighting vehicles, such as the iconic US M60 MBT series, the T-64 and T-80 Soviet tanks, as well as a wide array of aircraft effects, both tactical aviation and fast air, modeled on legendary platforms such as the iconic US AH-1 Cobra, F-4 Phantom, A-7 Corsair, and Soviet Mi-24 Hind. Combat Mission Cold War comes with 19 standalone scenarios, 4 Soviet training scenarios, and 3 full-length campaigns. The NTC campaign, set in the Mojave Desert, the US campaign, set in the southern Fulda strategic corridor between Fulda and Hanau, and the Soviet campaign, set north and east of Fulda, both during the first hours of a what-if Soviet invasion scenario. The game also includes battlefield innovations like the introduction of single and dual-purpose cluster munitions, and the early days of electronic warfare, giving players a sense of the impact an encroaching digital age would have. Combat Mission Cold War can be played either in real time or with the classic WeGo hybrid turn-based system. The new play-by-email system also allows you and your friends to dive into immersive multiplayer games with minimal setup and coordination.
Well, that announcer certainly sounded familiar, didn't he? Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome aboard to, well, Combat Mission Cold War. We actually took a look at one of these type games long ago, and there's quite a few of these combat missions that have been made by Slytherin, a company that specializes in many different RTS-style games. You may have seen recently the Starship Troopers game that is being remade, and it's by the same folks. In this game, well, the current scenario is taking place in 1982, and somebody will probably joke that this scenario is taking place in 82 in terms of the when the game was made. But what's interesting about these devs is they really don't care about some of their games maybe looking or kind of being weird or glitchy. I mean, obviously this road has like a sharp 45-degree angle to it, and that's not really the point of this type of game. This is definitely more of a simulator of warfare based on strategy and tactics than it is about its appearance. The game certainly looks a lot like, I would equate it to perhaps maybe World in Conflict, and also definitely some Wargame Red Dragon, but also the models themselves remind me of Call to Arms or Men of War Assault Squad with mods and such, as though the map might look a little bad, but the units actually look quite good and are very nicely detailed. But this does allow for the game to run on some pretty crappier machines, and though it does simulate much bigger battles without too much trouble, we can easily and smoothly zoom across the map and see all the streets and layouts. And this is really a game that could be a simulator for militaries to use for training purposes, for tactics and strategies, and is definitely something that could have been employed during the Cold War. At least this would look better than what they had at the time. But again, the year is 1982. There's also like a 79 scenario, and there's Soviet scenarios and such. And Slytherin does a good job of making all these different combat situations. Previous one that we took a look at, I think it was called, actually, I can't remember the name, but it was definitely based in the Middle East in the early 2000s or whatnot. So featuring modern and Cold War era vehicles and units and such. Pretty cool. All right, well, what we're going to go ahead and do here today, and thanks again, guys, for tuning in, and welcome. Hi, I'm Raptor. Welcome to, the Cold War version of this game, and it's nice to have you all here. Thanks for smashing like and subscribing and all that. I just wanted to take a look at what it was all about. Is I really like to support this dev, as they make a very big variety of games, some of which I can't play because they're just a lot of, on screen. Basically, it's a spreadsheet simulator with things like, for example, weight to consider for the vehicle, 47.4 tons, or the number of 105 millimeter heat rounds, and all those things to consider. But it's definitely not a bad game. It's for big brains, and that's not me. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and try to move some vehicles forward. we can actually give commands before the battle starts, and here it's simulating in kind of a different scale, like a war game type scenario, just like in War Game Red Dragon. So we're going to move all of our, what seems to be, I think these are all M60A1 Pattons. I think I've also seen, excuse me, more modern Abrams, and also some Soviet tanks. I've seen T-72s and T-55s, and so there's also BTRs and BMPs and a lot of other units that you can play around with. The game also has scenario editors, and this is just one of the campaigns that are available. It kind of plays out how like the campaign in Cold Waters plays out, where the scenarios are in different years but are kind of the same. So it's kind of like what would happen if this took place in like 75 or 79 versus 82, with just different parameters and different factions that you can play as. Although I've only seen the United States and also the Soviet Union available, it's kind of more like NATO meets the Warsaw Pact forces as we are in Germany. Some pretty good details here for this vehicle. This is the improvised tow vehicle, though I thought it would have a much different name. There's plenty of different half-tracks around here with anti-tank capabilities, and also even, in this case, a personnel carrier, and I think there's also M113s that have anti-aircraft guns on them, too, somewhere around here. So anyway, without further ado, let's hit this button here. The flashing button below the timer basically lets the game know that we want to begin. We've told our tanks to roll forward. Everyone's going to die. My tactics will be horrible, but I just want to see how things play out on the grand scale. Now, the nice thing about this game looking like this is that it's kind of more of like a tabletop simulator, and you can see artillery dropping here. This game is also available in World War II variants and more modern warfare or Cold War. Oh, wow. That's got to be rocket artillery. Coming from somewhere over here, maybe? Okay, then. So anyway, uh-oh, more? That's got to be heavy artillery there. So in this case, we're dealing with a lot of vehicles. We're going to move our Pattons ahead and see if we can actually crush enemy tanks. We have a few objectives here to be mindful of. The area of Whiskey is some good areas to ambush the enemy as they're trying to push through and capture the town behind us. Our main goal here, I think if we go to menus, there's a way where we can see the campaign mission. Yeah, if you want to read the details about it being July 1982, one of those what-if scenarios where we need to basically damage the enemy forces without taking any damage ourselves, or minimizing our casualties and maximizing the enemies, and then stopping them from getting behind us, which is Hanau. So they're trying to push to the west on, somewhere near here, Route 66. Wait a minute, what? Oh, yeah. Anyway, we're just northeast of Hamburg, near just south of Kassel and southwest of Leipzig, so East Germany. They basically just crossed the border. And I think you can play this from the Soviet perspective, too, where the goal is to basically complete the goals that the Soviets are trying to accomplish now. But for those of you who really enjoy Hearts of Iron and all the setup phases, I believe this game does do scenarios where if you complete this mission with units, they'll carry over to the next one, and veterancy, I think, is the thing, and it is cool to see all of our units pushing out. But another thing is, this game can also be turned into a turn-based strategy game, so even though we're kind of playing it in real-time strategy with the timer ticking down, the game is also playable where you can make a certain amount of moves and a certain amount of speed, so it does change the gameplay style a little bit. Ooh, looks like an enemy vehicle sighted on the left side. That could be an ATGM. Let's take a closer look at these tanks now. What was that, artillery? Alright, we've told our tanks to roll up to the road. Obviously, the Soviets are trying to cover this crossroad here, so we're going to try to go around that. They're suppressing that position. Ooh. Got a penetration upper front hull from an enemy tank, possibly. We also have the ability to call out artillery and aircraft, too, in this game, which is pretty cool. And we can even order this tank here, now that it's been hit, to pop smoke to protect it. Under our special menu, we also have a combat menu and a movement menu. So we can give all of our tanks individual orders to continue to open fire or to continue to move. go ahead and move on our left flank. And the tank that was hit over here on the right side, we're going to have to assess damage and see how we are. Immobilized. I believe we can give orders for repair. Damage, the engine has been knocked out. There might be a way to repair this vehicle either with the crew over time or to bring in a vehicle. But for now, we're going to go ahead and have them stop. And get the hell away from that artillery. So we're going to go ahead and also try to get our infantry deployed. A lot of these are infantry carriers. So we're going to go ahead and try to use hotkeys now and get a little smarter with our movements and try to get everyone to where they need to go. I don't see a way, by the way, to control multiple vehicles at a time. I don't think we can, you know, click and drag and tell multiple vehicles to move. So everything has to be commanded individually. But I'm not sure if there's a way to actually slow down or stop the time. You know, so that way we can give more orders in a short amount of time. We're going to go ahead and tell our troops there to move that direction. And we'll likely have the infantry dismount and move over that way. There we go. So I think what we're doing is we're telling the infantry to dismount the vehicles. Looks like we have a patent down here. I'm trying to get him to move to the front line. But yeah, we're telling the infantry to leave the vehicles and push towards the front. Ah, let's take a look at these uniforms. Wow, nicely done. Oh, very cool. I think we can also change in which our troops move in terms of like their awareness, whether or not they move with caution or whether or not they're advancing quickly. Yeah, so we can move fast, slow, hunt, or assault. So we can go ahead and tell our troops just to keep moving. So we can move our troops individually without the carriers, which sometimes can be good. In this case, probably a good idea. Since we've got a lot of artillery over here on the left side, we can send the infantry to the right side and then have the vehicles in the back to support. Oh, it looks like reinforcements have arrived. Whew. That's a bad spot for them to be, actually. Looks like they could be engineers. Second squad engineers. First platoon and a first squad. Okay, let's go ahead and have everybody dismount. So if we select the troops, they'll automatically dismount and then move to where you've asked them to go to, which is pretty cool. That way you can just immediately give orders rather than wasting time selecting the vehicle and then selecting the troops and telling them to unload. You just select troops and then where to go, and then they'll immediately deploy. It looks like they move quite cautiously if they're under fire. So this is the standard move speed. Let's go ahead and see what would it be like if they were moving quick. And we can actually queue up orders too, so we can tell them to, if for example we're approaching a road, we can tell them to move slowly through the bushes. We can then tell them to pause, and then we can then tell them to, like, for example, assault or move across quickly if we don't know what's there and we just need to quickly cross or something like that, where we don't suspect the enemy's there but we don't want to risk it, and we just need to get to the other side quickly. Cool stuff. So a lot of these objectives are marked. These are positions we have to hold that the enemy will try to push forward. In this case, I think, yeah, it is north here. So the enemy will be coming in from this right side, and we need to stop them from getting to this road and or capturing the city. The more we can contain the Soviets out in the field, the better. I wonder how one of our tanks got hit. May have been hit by artillery. But I also suspect there could be units. Well, we did see a unit on the left side, so a good idea for us to move forward. So you'll be spending a lot of the time with these RTS games. It's quite obvious that everyone wants to zoom in and take a look at the tank and see it firing and moving, and that's all a fair assessment and a fair request. The only problem with that, of course, is that in a strategy game like this, you know, it's like, do you want to zoom in on the chess piece, or do you want to see the whole board to see what the enemy's movements will be? In this case, that's one of those games where, again, the appearance of the game, I mean, look at this. What is this, SimCity 2000? But it definitely does show that, you know, there's some sort of an important structure here. There's fields around, there's trees. It's more of an ugly war game, but a beautiful and somewhat accurate simulator in terms of tactics. And I see a lot of other wonderful creators on the YouTube here covering games like this. And it's nice to see that these games are not pushed to the wayside, because a lot of these strategy games were definitely popular, including the games of hexagon-like styles, like the Panzer games from long ago. There was like Panzer Iron Fist and a few other games where it was all about moving via hexagons, and then it became more real-time strategy. And this is a mix of both, so that's quite cool to see. All right, the Pattons are approaching this. We'll just go ahead and call this a ridge. Or a tree line. It's mostly just a few bushes, but I want to see what's over here. To me, this appeared to be like a vineyard, but it seems to be a large forested area with a church on top where the Soviets could have some artillery or some spotters or something. We'll have to go take those out. Now, our mission briefing, we're about 10 minutes in already. I think we just need to defend for this amount of time and make sure the enemy does not get to the objective. But in this case, we just need to basically don't let them bypass us, which it'll be hard for them to do without us seeing it, and then just try to cause as much damage. And there's really no information about, you know, what kind of a force we're fighting other than, like, who it is. But, you know, it's not like we're going to be... It doesn't say, like, 4 T-80Us or something like that. It's mostly just going to be infantry, tanks, and transports of various types. All right, let's see how the infantry is moving here, too. Oh, looks like they came to a stop. I did notice that some of our... we're in pause mode from the briefing. I did notice some of our troops appeared to have javelin launchers on their back. And or actually, that may have been Dragon ATs, which are going to be somewhere in between. They're dummy rounds, basically. What is this here? A second team's... Oh, we have a scout unit. Fantastic. Oh, Q&E also to rotate. We'll continue to move things. So yes, the disappearance of the roadways and stuff feels... I've played this on all sorts of different settings. You'd think that I have my settings all completely wrong here. But no, this is the way this is actually supposed to appear, and I've seen other combat mission games, and it's nice to see that the developers, again, they don't care. They just want to make a fun game that doesn't matter about graphics. And I see the graphics argument becoming more and more prominent on YouTube, and I'm kind of curious about that, because it seems like a lot of people are very interested in graphic equal good game, which is often true. You know, obviously GTA Definitive Edition, well, basically shows you that a game's graphics could definitely be a representative of the quality and care put in. On the other hand, games like Minecraft and Stardew Valley and other games that pick peculiar type styles of games, like, for example, Psychonauts or even Men of War Assault Squad, might not even be to somebody's standards either, or certain Arma mods or whatnot. So it's always curious to see people you know, maybe dismissing a game due to its graphics or its appearance and not really seeing it for what it truly is. I mean, honestly, you could play chess on a calculator, you know, on a smart calculator if you wanted to. It doesn't always... It's the game is the game, and the strategy is the strategy. You don't always need to see it in a different light to actually see what it's all about. This vehicle here is not moving. Is this a command vehicle of some sort? It's kind of parked next to the thing here, and I can't quite get it to roll out. It seems to be... Oh, it's immobilized. Oh, it must have been hit immediately from the artillery. Damn Soviets. I was looking for craters around it, but yeah, okay, so we got this tank wiped out from... what's the issue with it? Damage. Well, it's immobilized, but there doesn't seem to be any damage. Is there a fuel problem? Not exactly sure why this one won't be able to move, but I guess you'll have to let me know why. I may be incorrect on that one. Alright, let's get a recon unit up to the right side. We'll go to Objective Whiskey on the right. So again, we're not really playing to win. This game is definitely going to be one that I'm going to have to really get used to get into a lot more. And this also is a very cool game to see the units moving around and how big the scale of the battle is. I did mention games like Men of War Assault Squad and Call to Arms earlier, and in those games you have to be what seems to be about like maybe 200 and maybe 250 meters near an enemy for that's the longest range in the game, or even the artillery has like maybe a 300-meter range. But you know, in actual wars, kilometers matter sometimes when it comes to artillery, and of course airstrikes too. Air strikes can take place from kilometers away and up above. So it's interesting to see what the scale of this game could be. We have our 105 main gun on these M60A1 Arise vehicles as well. And a fun fact here, I believe this is, now it was 1982, so I think music videos were a thing by then, or starting to become a thing, so I believe these are little TVs that display the American power of rock and or roll, and so it's so disorienting to the communist forces that they don't know what to do, and it actually melts their brains. Well, that, or you can tell me what it's actually for. I think we all know what that's for, but if you want to explain, go right ahead. So I see a lot of buildings down here too. I think a lot of these can be occupied. And this is where the game will really get interesting, is when we enter these cities, it will come down to having our forces move through these areas very carefully. As you can see, the game goes from large open fields to where tanks can be dominant, to where infantry can really shine, especially if they've got to fight a tank with their AT launchers and such. So let's see if we can get another... Where's that recon vehicle that we ordered? I also want to push some more vehicles to the front. So 26 minutes in. I want to keep getting our spotters up here and dismounting. These M113s are fantastic for allowing us to also be able to see the enemy with a quick unit. They don't really have the greatest line of sight, but they definitely are fast and small, so they could be hard to hit or detect. So we'll continue to push our forces up here and see what we can do. So these seem to be engineers. I wonder if we have special combat abilities for these guys. Dismount, split team, scout. Okay, so we have options to do different options for the infantry. So those are some options that differ from the tank to be able to split. All right, let's move our forces down this way. So I'm assuming the enemy's going to come in from the east, but really could be anywhere based on where they might approach from. And I would say this was just the setup phase of the game, but we've already been engaged by artillery and also that small enemy unit that engaged us on the hill over here, which may have disengaged. Their scout seems to have left, but I don't think we have enough infantry to really push up that position, and we need to block the road here at Whiskey. And so if the enemy captures this position, it's basically as if they're getting around us. So let's move some more of our vehicles here. This is also the type of game where if the match is 45 minutes, it could all be about maybe 35 minutes of setup and 10 minutes of actual action. A lot of War Game Red Dragon is like that too, where units will... oh, we got Shrek here. Interesting. But anyway, this is a lot of this is like War Game Red Dragon, where you might have some minimal combat at the start, but it's all about capturing light positions and then preparing for a large battle. There we go. We see what... That's got to be an anti-tank weapon up there. That's got to be the... I forget the name of that vehicle, but it's a four-wheeled amphibious vehicle where the Soviets can mount anti-aircraft guns, but also anti-tank, which in this case is probably the Conquerors. Oh, here we go. We have a command unit and a few... Oh, these are actually tow launchers as well. So even more anti-tank for NATO forces. These are all U.S. I believe it states that this is the... Let's take a look at that campaign menu. We are the... I think it was Black Dragons, but I don't know who that is. 11... Oh, okay, so it's 11th ACR, 3rd Armored Division, NATO troops. Your unit is the 2nd Battalion of the 28th Infantry Regiment Black Lions. There you go. So supported by the 4th. So we've got a few different units that'll be coming in throughout the battle with different types of skills. In this case, an ATGM could be good against another ATGM. The Soviet ATGMs, I would say, are better here for these purposes as they're wheeled, and so they can get across this territory pretty quickly. But the American ones are very good at being stable and can travel on rough terrain just a lot slower, and probably because they're larger can carry more missiles. But I forget what the name of these light vehicles are up here, but it's yeah, basically almost like a BTR. It's not the same design, but if you picture a BTR with 2 wheels missing in the middle, you'll know what I'm talking about. Wow, we got tanks all over just doing nothing here. Now I will say some of the unit command feels a little bit clunky, but that's because I've got basic ideas of the controls. Man, this really does feel like a game from 1995 or something like that, but No, that's not even fair. It's got to be more like early 2000s. It's another argument, too, from the graphics people that a lot of them will say, these graphics are from 2017. And it's like, dude, I think you might be even in the wrong decade. But I will say, though, that, the skybox here is literally just some blurry village and what looks to be like a Gary's Mod type grass in the background. But again, this game doesn't even, try to hide that it's ugly. And so is War. And if you're looking for beauty, go find Wargame Red Dragon, or hell, even World in Conflict. Which, by the way, F's in the chat for that one. Seriously, I'm telling you, reach over and type an F out in the comment section for World in Conflict. That game is an absolute masterpiece of both wonderful campaign and incredible multiplayer. And I played the hell out of that up until the servers were shut down. They're back now, and then they were on and off again. And but I really need to see another one of those games, and I forget who exactly owns the rights to that game. But man, it would be incredible. I think it was a Sierra game, and someone may have purchased them after a while. But I would just love to see more companies like Slither and anybody else who tries to, just make strategy games to make more of them. It's really great to see Call to Arms, Gates of Hell, Ostfront out, and although YouTube does its best to try to suppress any sort of war content, which is interesting. It's interesting. If you do any sort of World War II or modern combat, they try to suppress that. But if it's a big game, then it gets an okay pass. It's like, well, you can cover World War II, but only if it's through the lens of a watered-down Call of Duty Vanguard, which actually I thought was quite cool. Some of those missions in that one. I just watched somebody else play it, but but it could have been way worse, honestly. Although, zero interest in the multiplayer, which I'm not even sure if this game has. I would like to see more games getting multiplayer, and it'd be actually really cool to be able to set up a scenario here for a defense and attack and then play with a friend. We've only seen one vehicle up here. We got to go get that vehicle. I'm sending this first platoon HQ up there because they actually have just it's just some night vision, and they might be able to see what's up there. I can't tell, though, if it's actually night in the game. Obviously, it looks pretty bright out now, right? But this could be the type of game where you're actually able to see as if it were nighttime, but the type of day might matter the most. Okay, well, we got most of our vehicles set up. This could be just kind of a setup period where the enemies fired a ton of artillery to try to kill or wound our troops. And then we'll be coming through at the end of the countdown timer. We've got about 20 minutes to go. I just want to see what they do. And, yeah. So I need to show more love to these games. I think RTSs are definitely very diverse now. We're getting a new Company Heroes 3. And what do you think about that one? Company Heroes 3 coming out sometime next year will be quite interesting to see. I'm slightly more preference towards games like Wargame and Call to Arms and Meta War Assault Squad, but recently went back and played through all of the Company Heroes missions for the original game, and it really makes me appreciate the first game and how the second game was going to be really hard to top the first game. When you make a game that's so good and you try to make a second one, how the hell are you supposed to do that? And how do you make it better? Another question in this game, too, by the way. I know we're jumping back and forth, but we'll have to see if there's actually helicopters. Some Cobras or an Apache or something would be really effective here, and including aircraft to bomb enemy positions would be really nice as well. Looks like we got ourselves some more... what are these? Artillery? Oh, anti-aircraft. We got chaparrals here. Very nice. We must be getting set up to defend. There's been no enemy tank movement. I was expecting some combat around the city, but we're not tasked with really taking anything. If the enemy's in there and we surround them and they don't advance, then we've basically won because they've failed their objectives and will be cut off via supply, especially if we're stopping their supply from coming in by holding most of the map. But we'll see here what happens in time. I think reinforcements are arriving so that way we can deploy them. And the enemy could attack from, they could flank around to the west side. But I need to get up there with the command squad and see what's going on up there. I want to try to get close and see. Let's see if we can get ATGMs on the standby. We'll have to check weapon ranges too. I don't see any immediate details on... Oh, here we are. 65 to 300... Oh, okay, so it can fire 65 meters in front of it to 3,750 meters. Now, the distance, I'll have to see if there's a rangefinder for that. I'm not sure of what these other buttons do, but we do have access to... Oh, you know what? Actually... Ah. So we have artillery at our disposal. The best thing would probably be this radio operator group. Oh, and maybe there's laser designation too. Maybe we can actually call in more accurate weapons that way. Let's see if we can finally take a look at this vehicle that keeps disappearing on us. There we go. Exactly what I thought. Uh-oh. BRDM, that's what I was thinking of. AT-5. It looks like he's acquiring it. Oh, he is. Wow, an amazing hit. Actually hitting a chaparral. How did he see that, though? And we need to fire back. He shouldn't have any sort of infantry nearby. We would have more than likely seen the infantry by now. We've got vehicles all around here. Wow, what a hit, though. Nicely done. Enemy scoring one immobilization on one of our tanks with the BRDM. One with artillery, and now one with the striking of that. Oh, it's actually destroyed. The vehicle's wiped out here. No change to the graphics, though. The model takes no damage, it looks like, for when it's destroyed. It'll just have a mark around it of... You can actually see where it hit in the dirt. Maybe a skull and crossbones if we zoom out far enough. Kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see if we can go up to the top of the hill now. And get that vehicle. I want to just storm up here. There's got to be a battle happening very soon. Let's see if we can do a fast move. Yeah, let's go up to the top of this hill as fast as possible with the tanks. I want to see if we can overwhelm that ATGM and possibly take the hill for ourselves. Wonder if this is an area where enemy recon has showed up early and it's more of our vehicles showing up and taking positions while the enemy had early artillery out. Okay, here comes the tanks. Quite cool to see like that. I'll have to try some more of the World War II variants, as of course infantry combat there would be much more heavy and more stationary, meaning that, you know, for example, the Germans would be dug in along a line with anti-tank guns and machine guns and infantry all about. The Americans would come through with tanks and other types of vehicles. Alright, well, speaking of vehicles, the BRDM must have engaged something again. Nope, doesn't look like he's turning. Ah. We finally have a target, though. Hard as hell to see what we're engaging there. But that may have been the recon vehicle that helped to score a hit earlier on one of the vehicles there. Ah, there they are. So we've now spotted the enemy. So the enemy must get helicopters. So right now, with 13 minutes remaining, T-72s have arrived. Now, or T-64s, and I'm sure there's 72s in here somewhere. But as if we were to read the briefing, there may be more information about who will engage and from where. And you can see now that they're arriving with infantry. So there is seemingly a way you could cheese this mission out with so much time. With only 13 minutes remaining, we could rush the Pattons to here and basically get them as they're coming in. Or actually, better yet, just come here with ATGMs and tanks waiting here. Let them spread out a bit and then pop them. And then as for the vehicle in the back, get them eventually. Let's go ahead and go into the combat mode. See if we can tell these vehicles to target. Ooh, oh. Looks like he's been hit. Oh yeah, he's getting shot at. Rounds going back out there. Oh, sweet. So as I predicted, the enemy is going to show up at the last minute here. So what, we started with 45 minutes or 40 minutes, and within with just 12 minutes remaining, that's where the real battle is going to go down into. Now, if we have chaparrals, that means enemy Hinds could be arriving, or more, or worse. It also means that the enemy is going to approach this side to Whiskey. So we should move our anti-tank and infantry over here to get ready. Some of our troops did have AT. It does mark, yeah, that they have AT and how many rounds. It's kind of more of an ugly war game with also more statistics and information, and it works a lot slower too. So there's more time to prepare all those precious details of an ambush or a maneuver. How the hell we're missing that vehicle? Sitting right there. ATGMs, I guess, are trying to fling Hail Marys all the way up to the top. So that's advanced enemy recon that got there. So that's why they were able to see some of our stuff early. And we now know what we're going to receive. We'll probably get slaughtered because we don't have our vehicles anywhere near where they should be. But, so with the chaparrals that arrived, probably a good idea to put them down here. With the AT weapons, the tows that we received, a good idea to put them spread out through here. And then the tanks too, and then have maybe a tank or two go up here to take out the AT. And then maybe infantry to support, though. It seems like it'd be just easier to get them at close range. Because once we get about halfway through the field, the enemy ATGM can't fire anymore. And we can just rush it. So, speaking of the Russians, though, the Soviets more likely. Let's go ahead and take a look at their units. We're just here to kind of see, you know, there's no tactics going on. We're just taking a first look at what they've got access to and how it plays out. So we're seeing some wonderful BMP-2s. And again, if you've skipped to the middle of this video, make sure you jump back to the very beginning and also watch that trailer, because you're missing out on a lot of the details of the campaigns and such, to which, of course, we can play as the Soviets, as I had mentioned, and we can also play as the Americans in different missions in different time zones. Looks like enemy vehicles are getting hit, so are ours. Enemy probably lost. That's probably a BMP there. BMP wiped out, so probably an infantry squad dead too, since they're being transported. One of our vehicles taking a hit too, but we'll have ATGMs firing quite quickly here. Get a vehicle onto the road, and luckily our troops are smart enough to auto-engage. Our vehicles are. And do we have anything else around? So we've got some damaged tanks. I wonder if there's an actual way for us to be able to repair those. If those engineering units have the capacity to do that, or if they're just field engineers to build defenses and or mining, etc. Cool. Well, the Rise Patents did a good job of eliminating the enemy ATGM up there. That'll stop that harassment. Vehicle's wiped out. You can see it sitting there under the tree. So let's go ahead and flank the Soviets. We'll get them in the side then. And we want to move, let's move fast. So we want to go B. And we'll just tell all of our friendly tanks to move down that direction. Probably be too late. The enemy will probably crush our defense, our defense of the area Whiskey. But goes to show that these missions are not too complicated with too many steps. It's simple but effective in terms of simulating combat. And I really think we need more games like this. Now, there's multiple campaigns. I think I've seen 4 campaigns. There's quick missions, too, where you can pick which units you go into. There's smaller scale battles, too. So if you want to just fight in the town, you can set it up where it's like, you know, 3 or 4 squads versus 3 or 4 squads. And then different types of squads, too. Like, for example, Spetsnaz or, I don't know, like Rangers or something like that. Whatever you might want to try to utilize. So we have anti-aircraft now. Really wonder what the hell that was for. Well, obviously for aircraft, but I'm wondering what the enemy's going to bring in. If it's an area where we need to control around that, where we don't get air cover, if the enemy will try to bomb us. We also have, where was our command vehicles? Yeah, here we go. We have our companies that can call in mortars, so we can try that. Let's see, shift click for multiple. Oh, okay, so we can actually do linear area and point targets, and then we can choose how many batteries we want to fire. So if we do, let's say, a linear target, we could try to, we'll need line of sight. Oh, they're behind a barn, no wonder. Or a building. Well, let's peek out on the other side of that building there. So this, what, 3-man squad? That's pretty damn cool. The scaling here is pretty good, too. These buildings would seem a little smaller. Okay, let's try this again. Let's try point targeting. Oh, okay, so there is... elevation does matter here. Oh, yeah, the Soviets are kind of down there. I wonder if there's a way we could sneak. I don't want to get too close, though. Those BMPs will fire off at us pretty quickly. I also didn't want to move that close. I only wanted to move to the second beacon. But the enemy is taking some hits now, losing multiple vehicles to the smoke you can see there. And the tanks are moving through at top speed. Oh yeah, look at them go. Top speed, baby. And if you're gonna move tanks, move them on a road or move them through a field. Don't bring them through a town. Well, I like the models. They look really good, and I like the variety of vehicles. Anytime I see a Cold War game from, I don't know, 75 to 85 or 90, or actually 95 if it happens to be one of those Cold War gone hot scenarios where, you know, the Soviet Union never ended, etc., etc. Pretty cool to see. Alright, let's see if the squad... I wonder if we can tell them to stop here and just give the orders to... give a point tar... Oh, damn. Wait a minute. Don't tell me they can only be like broken arrow 40 meters from it. We'll see. Anyway, we'll end up losing a lot of our vehicles due to just enemy infantry being everywhere, but not too bad. The enemy has 5 minutes to break through. They'll probably do it if they keep pushing. We've got 2 tanks that are damaged anyway, which would have been a smart idea to bring these 2 to the hill and these 3... Actually, not a bad idea to put, in retrospect, maybe 1 patent here, 2 here, and then have 2 go to the AT weapon and then flank the Soviets somewhere along this road. Try to be quiet. I will admit, though, when everything is nice and close, it looks really good. So, though it's ugly from a distance, it's nice to see up close like that. Oh! Well, damn. It looks like the patents have arrived. Oh, that vehicle is wiped out. Absolutely wiped out. Little payback now. Patton's coming up and doing some real dirty damage there. Oh, maybe we won't need 3 of them. Where's the 3rd one anyway, though? I only see 2 of the tanks. One of them got hung up somewhere. Oh, did he get caught? Oh, yeah, he's still trying to navigate his way through. Damn. I wonder how this will work when you try to get everyone to move as a group. Let's try to come up behind the Soviets now. At Point Whiskey, we'll try to put them between a rock and a hard place. We'll fire at targets left, right side of the road. And it's going to be, yeah, what looks to be mostly BMPs. Still dangerous, though. BMPs definitely have... Ooh, is that a T-80? Oh, no, it's a T-64. Yeah, because it's... Oh, damn, they took another hit. Are they about to lose this vehicle? Is my wild newbie-nation and comp... See, here's how games usually work for me, too, where it's like the less I know and the more I just try to, I don't know, experiment. It's an overwhelming victory, and all of communism is defeated for all time in one battle. But then when I try to painstakingly plan it out and, you know, try to take my time, everybody dies. So that's just how it works for me. They're shooting inside the building there. That's cool. I do like how these vehicles are automatically attack move. Like, they are capable of firing while they're moving, whether it be the machine guns or the coaxial, whatever, the turret, main gun, whatever, it all keeps firing. Good. Well, I guess if the enemy doesn't break through in 2 minutes, we'll just call it a day, and freedom prevails. Let's see. Ooh, more infantry here. Oh, is that one of our transports here? Oh, yep. Or maybe an AA weapon. Kind of confused as to why we got those. I don't see any. Didn't see any helicopters. Didn't hear a single thing. And helicopters, for the most part, are not very stealthy, so it's like we would have seen them or heard them coming from 10 million miles away. Oh, there we go. Now we got some tank damage. Was this the guy who arrived late? Yeah. Alright, well, to be fair, he deserves that. Getting caught in the overpass like that. Alright, we got 1 minute and 40 seconds. I'm assuming if the enemy does not capture whiskey by that time, we've just won. If not, who cares? We will keep our, well, it looks like our little recon squad there got killed, unfortunately. These are scouts here. Wonder if the, similar to Wargame, if scouts, for example, have a better value for stealth. Obviously, if a unit's going to be stealthy, it's going to have to be a small unit of just a couple of men or whatnot. Oh, there's still infantry in there. Vehicle took a hit. Could be from the crew inside the in the building there. 2 of the tanks are not moving now. Let's try to get everybody moving up this way. And we're down to 20 seconds. Just curious to see how it all plays out. But cool, there's many more games and such like this coming. These developers here, too, I forgot to mention, are also making Broken Arrow, which if you enjoyed Wargame, Red Dragon, or any of the other games you've seen on the channel, Broken Arrow looks like it's going to be along with regiments or whatnot. Alright, so after action report, apparently a draw. The Soviet army did not push through. We completed our objectives by maintaining a low friendly casualty rate. But the enemy captured sectors, which I guess... Oh, they must have had him... Okay, so they dumped off infantry there. Oh, we can see what they start with. So there were 2 ATGM vehicles there and some infantry, and then they just pushed forward to try to capture whiskey, but far too little, far too late. Although this is marked whiskey here, that's the main position to defend. Alright guys, well that's going to be it for today's episode. Thanks for watching me for Combat Missions Cold War. Cool. I like the dev. I like that they're making the Starship Troopers and the Broken Arrow, and that they try all sorts of things, whether they're ugly or not, they keep on trucking, like me. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Ooh, did you feel that? Me too. Take care, and have a great day. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate your time. Hope you enjoyed our little glance here. This is definitely a game for you if you like strategy, and some pretty cool screenshots. If there's a way to disable the HUD, it's pretty cool to see these squads coming out of the woodwork. The battle was just kicking off, man. Oh, enemy transports were about to crack the crest. Oh, that would have been cool. All right, I'll see you all next time. Thanks again for the support, positivity, kindness, and all the awesome comments. See you next time.